All right, I am Leslie Butler, and this is my visual narrative. So this is assessment task 3. My specialisation is in literacy, and I was at the Grange Primary in Hobbs Crossing doing a low socioeconomic status school there. So an advanced knowledge of curriculum in literacy. So there you've got a definition of the Department of Education of what literacy is, and to me it means that it's a set of skills that the student should be able to they should know at a certain level. So in my case, I was focusing on level 2 because I was with year 2s. The curriculum is broken down really easily. So when I went into placement and I was designing a persuasive writing unit for the students, I went to the curriculum, I consulted it. It gave me a really easy link to where persuasive writing was and broke it down so that I knew what the students had to learn in order to be successful in persuasive writing, which was basically that they had to know the structures and they had to know the language features of it. So from here I created 8 lessons, and just by this the curriculum has helped me plan a whole unit which connects directly to AT3 Standard 2.3. So here you can see on the bottom left is advertisement PowerPoint that I made to engage the students to try and give it a bit of a real world connection for them. That was to really introduce them to persuasive language, you must, and you have to do this and that, all of that. The students were then asked to create their own slogan. They could have done it on iPhones, chocolate bars. This student here in the middle, just this one here, they chose to do it on a roller coaster, and you can see some of the descriptive language and the persuasive language in there. From here, these formative pieces of assessment was what we use the slogans for, helped create learning goals. So the learning goals were on the students' desks. These writing ones here were flipped over and changed as soon as the slogans were marked. Continuing on, so the curriculum just kept on helping. So as I said, the persuasive language came from the curriculum, and now it went into text structures. So persuasive writing needs an opinion, it needs reasoning, it needs explanation of those reasonings. That was broken down in the Oreo planning template, as you can see on the left over here. Then in the middle, they were having a go at these persuasive writing, at actually breaking down the structures and getting their language in there again. A lot of editing and revising, as you can see here. Then on the right, I move over to their summative pieces. So these were used for actually reporting, which is connected to AT3 Standard 2.3, but you can see that they're broken down into nice structures there. All right, moving on. Personal and professional knowledge. So I chose literacy as my specialisation because I'm a bit of a pedant when it comes to grammar. I'm the annoying person that'll tell you when you've spelt something wrong, as you can see down there in the bottom left. I'm my cousin. He's usually illiterate, and well done on saying the right yaw. It's also because I love writing. This is a short story that I created. But more than that, I wanted to be able to add professional knowledge. I felt like I lacked that a bit, even though I was good at English through school and that I did it as my minor in this degree. I just didn't feel like I had those processes to go with it all. That's why I chose it as my specialisation. So helping out, I thought that I would be pretty good with modelling writing, modelling reading, spelling, punctuation, vocabulary. That's all important to year 2 students. As you can see here, I'm correcting their work and don't need to look at any resources. I knew that already. But then when it came to actually breaking down the concepts, that's where I felt like I had a bit of a problem, and it's something that I will address in my action plan at the end of this. So one example was I was reading with a student and they didn't know how to say the word kind. They kept saying it as kind, and I just didn't have the knowledge there to help to say, oh, this is what you need to do. And so I consulted my mentor about this. They said, oh, look, we've got these reading strategies in class, have a look at them, studied them up, and it really helped me try to break it into building blocks, but it's something I need to further for sure. So down here on the left, there's reading strategies that I could start to implement with the students, but I feel like I need more. Over here is So this is a persuasive writing block. I also felt like I needed to break this down more and have more professional knowledge, but this unit taught me a lot about that persuasive writing, and I guess doing is the best experience you can get. So, and yeah, it really helped me create an effective sequence that the students learnt off, and that's connected to AT3 Standard 2.2 and 3.2, and it's evident here. So down on the right here, you've got a pre-assessment where it's kind of all over the shop. That's their persuasive writing. That's about not squashing an ant. And over here, it's about is it better to play inside or outside? You can see the structures there. The sentence starters are good, and I help these students get to that point, building on my personal knowledge with professional knowledge. So pedagogical approaches to the curriculum. Something that the students loved was the reading groups in class. That was probably one of their favourite activities. It was kind of based on play-based learning. It was really aiming to engage them and get them going. There's some examples down here that we used in class. So this is the reading eggs over here. That was helping them break down. I think there was the TH sound there. Over here was how they made concrete words with the magnetic letters to help them visualize their spelling words. And over here you got antonyms. This group would change between a bunch of different phonics and language activities. These activities were all based on the curriculum. As you can see there on the screen, they were all linked heavily on them, and it's just another example of how the curriculum can help us. But more importantly than that, the groups were differentiated. They were fluid, as you saw over here. Each group is a different level. So this differentiation really helped tailor the intellectual needs of the students and the intellectual development. And it was, yeah, as it said, it was fluid, so they could just go through and we would change them from week to week, whether they needed to be put up, put down, need more support, need more challenges. And it's also really good for their social side. So they would get into groups with their friends, they would talk, they were engaged, they were talking heaps, but it was still about education, so they were learning through it as well. So it was building not just that intellectual side, but that social side. And it combined a bunch of different teaching strategies into one, I guess, jam-packed lesson. They would rotate through each day, so this satisfied ATL Standard 3.3 and 3.4. So pedagogical approaches that take into account their kind of cultural, socio-economic status. I was at a low socio-economic status school, and they really loved to implement the gradual release of responsibility model. This was something that my mentor had trialled with a bunch of EAL students. They used to go on the pedagogical model. But as you can see over here, this is something they've got posted in class that the students can anchor to, and these are the lesson plans. So you've got modelled instruction, shared instruction, guided practice in every single lesson, and this is just an outtake. And then over here is the differentiated individual practices. So that was a major pedagogical approach in the writing and the reading, and it worked really well, especially seeing as though these kind of models were created within disadvantaged schools, so it's perfect for this low socioeconomic status. And I could really see that these students that were EAL had something concrete to anchor their learning to. An example was when we were doing narrative writing after persuasive writing. This is a story map I created for the students. It's got my setting, my characters, my beginning, middle, and end. Then we created this character over here together, so that's the shared guided part. Then we finished off with our individual work. So yeah, anchoring that learning and really explicitly explaining it to them, I found writing and reading really worthwhile, and that it succeeded because of this model that we based it on, because of the pedagogical model, the gradual release model. Moving on to the critical approaches to application of literacy and looking at it through a social justice lens. We've talked a lot about critical theory in NETS. There's a really good quote that I found that critical approaches, it's helping students that may find school a bit of a struggle. It provides students with a way of reading their world, seeing differently and analytically, which can help them read the culture of the school as well as popular culture. So, especially in a low socioeconomic status school, I can see that education isn't tailored to all people, it's tailored to a certain type of person, and I guess we need to be the agents of change there and try and broaden it and bring education to these students that don't fit the mold of the perfect student. And that's what critical approaches can do. Hackman discusses this, one of the readings from the semester, or from the unit, and it breaks it down into 5 ways that we can help as teachers let them create critical students. So content mastery means like really knowing your stuff, but also getting information from broad places, not just Roald Dahl and J.K. Rowling. You need it from multicultural backgrounds and bring all types in to engage all types of students. Tools for critical analysis, so really making students think about and being able to analyze everything and not just accept it for what it is. Down there is also personal reflection. I found that one really interesting. That's something that I believe I can bring into school straight away, that I can reflect on my practice and say, how can I be more critical and create more critically thinking students and not just accepting the mold. How do we engage parents and carers? So obviously you've got your take-home readers and your I guess your reports at your parent-teacher interviews, notes at the end of the day. That's on the left over here. That's all normal stuff. The thing I found really interesting and really cool about the school I was at was that they had this thing called Class Dojo. Now this screen grab here is from my mentor's phone, and as you can see, she's got direct messages and direct links to all the parents of the students. She can message them if anything goes wrong, if they're doing well in school, if they need anything, if they need an excursion note brought back, she can just flick a message. And it's really brought this communication process into the social networking into the 21st century. Not only could she just direct message them, but the students all have a profile on this Class Dojo that Miss Megan, my mentor's name is. She can just put up their good work so the students so that the parents and carers can see it straight away. And also, there's a class discussion board. This image over here is from the class discussion board. My mentor posted it up. All the teachers have to post 3 things a week, so to engage and bring in the parents and carers even more. Have to bring them in, and so this is what she posted. One of the posts from this last week was doing some guided reading in class, and it's me helping out a student. Lastly, we've got reporting on student achievement. So over here you've got why we report on student achievement, and how I did it. We use anecdotal notes a lot. That's a really informal way of reporting on student achievement. A lot of feedback to give to the students. A lot of roaming around and giving feedback to the students so they know that they're on the right track, or if they need to improve something straight away. But the most formal way and the most concrete way is your end of semester reports, and my school's no different, but they've just got these I can statements. So instead of writing, I guess, individual comments for each of the students, the teachers use all of their summative assessments and everything they want to report on. They take it and they run it against this I can sheet over here. Each one of these little statements is I can do something in a certain section. So if I had a piece of persuasive writing from one of the students, I could come up to here and I go, I can use persuasive text structures. I can use language features that go with persuasive writing, and then that all. So once you highlight all of them off, you can collate them on the student's profile, and that helps report writing and gets them out really clearly, and just it's a nice show of progress for all the students. And yeah, that's all my references and done. Thank you for your time.